Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage today's host, Dan Michaels.
Good afternoon again, everybody, and welcome once again to the induction ceremony for the 52nd class of the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame. How's everybody doing? You ready to go? We have some very accomplished people in the room. We're going to introduce some of them to you in just a moment. Here's another one of these guys. I tell you, I could still remember the first time I met Matt Larson, first time he got here to Fargo and took over as athletic director. He arrived right in the middle of the athletic season, hit the ground running. His tenure at North Dakota State includes many amazing accomplishments like incredible new facilities, scholarships, multiple media rights, partnerships, and tremendous growth. NDSU athletics has also enjoyed dozens and dozens of conference championships, regional titles, and national championships, and All-Americans under his leadership. He's been the Under Armour FCS Athletic Director of the Year and continues to lead NDSU athletics in unmatched heights in facilities, fundraising, scholarships, budget, and staff. Ladies and gentlemen, the 18th Athletic Director at North Dakota State University, Mr. Matt Larson. Matt.
All right, good afternoon. What a great looking group. This is always a fun week and it's a tiring week because I think we cram as many things as we possibly can into this week, but all for good reason. You know, just this morning, getting around the room and early on, getting a chance to see people that maybe only get to see them once a year, or get a chance to congratulate our inductees, many of whom aren't in Fargo any longer. And so it really is an unbelievable week of celebration. Earlier this morning, I got to go to see President Cook deliver the State of the University address. And you want to talk excitement and all the upheaval in higher education and college athletics. To sit there and listen about the unbelievable and amazing things that are going on our campus, it's really inspiring. The work that's happening on the research side, the unbelievable accomplishments of our students and our student athletes. You leave there with an unbelievable excitement of just what the future of our institution is. And so, President Cook, appreciate your message this morning. And then I get to come over here and celebrate with you all an unbelievable class for our Hall of Fame. But this is an event I look forward to every single year because really it represents all the great things we talk about with Bison athletics. Excellence, success, and of course Bison pride, which we'll hear a lot about today. And you know, we also get to honor the current Hall of Fame members who really represent the best of the best of people who've competed in a Bison uniform. And so it's a great opportunity to bring current Hall of Fame members and our new inductees and celebrate them all in one given day. So a special welcome home to Craig, Ben, Brett, Matt, Sarah, Diandra, Wayne, and members of the 1998 National Championship Wrestling Team. But before I get to some brief remarks, I do want to recognize some special people that are in the audience today. I referenced Dr. Cook before, but President Cook and his wife, Dr. Kate Cook. So much of a university and the success starts with unbelievable leadership. And I'm really fortunate to work with President Cook on a daily basis, and not just about athletics, because for athletics to be successful, we need the university to be successful, and it goes hand in hand in so many ways. So just appreciate his dedication to moving NDSU forward, moving athletics forward, being a great partner with us in increasing our brand and the future of Bison athletics. And you know, they're a staple at wrestling matches, softball games, track meets, you name it. So we appreciate your support. You're one of our biggest fans, both you and Kate, and so we really appreciate it. Next is our Hall of Fame committee, and in particular Ryan Peralt and Lee Peterson. They probably have one of the hardest jobs of anybody on campus, and you'll hear a little bit why when you think about historically the people that have qualified and been inducted into our Hall of Fame. And so I sit in those meetings and we're combing through unbelievable resumes of people that over the course of time, national champions, Olympians, Athletes of the Year, National Coaches of the Year. You go through all that list, and it's really humbling when you sit there and you just see the incredible success that has come through NDSU. So to Lee and Ryan both, just appreciate your hard work, your tireless work in making this a great event year after year. Yeah, please, round of applause. And as much as I'd like to say, I know Coach Richmond, head men's basketball coach, and Coach Collins, head women's basketball coach, are both here today. This room doesn't always look like this, right? This is our practice gym and facility, and we have a lot of people who come together to make it look like an unbelievable facility for today. And so I just want to thank and recognize some of those folks. So first, Livewire, they do an unbelievable job with the audio and visual that we see here today. Thanks to the Holiday Inn for an incredible lunch. They always do a great job in servicing the event. And then from our staff, Chris Ann Mock, Emily Sumner, Scott Walken, Nathan Buralt, Robbie Sparks, Cody Tussler, and Kristen Hansen. Please join me in a round of applause for those folks. We're also fortunate a number of our athletic staff members and coaches are here. And I'm incredibly fortunate I get to come and work with what I think probably the most dynamic, passionate group of people that you can find, who just tireless workers, unbelievable sacrifices to put our student athletes in great positions to be successful. And their passion is palpable as you walk up and down these hallways. Unbelievable teachers, mentors, and just incredibly fortunate to work with great coaches and great people who truly put our student athletes first and want them to be incredibly successful. So a round of applause for our staff and coaches, please. And the reason why we do what we do, a number of our senior student athletes from all 16 of our programs are here today. And so first off, I want to thank them just for their leadership. We're really fortunate. For those of you who've come through our program or know Bison Athletics, we're so fortunate and successful because of the type of leadership we get from our upperclassmen. And so to have you all here today representing your teams and our current athletic programs is really special for me, but it's also a look to the future. You get a chance to see the people that came before you, that laid an unbelievable foundation that you get an opportunity to compete on today. And so enjoy that, listen to the messages, because what I think you'll see is, whether it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 5 years ago, a lot of the things you're going to hear and see are things that you experience on a day-to-day basis. The things that make Bison Athletics special: character, integrity, hard work, sacrifice. It worked 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it continues to work today. So a round of applause for our student athletes who do an incredible job. So it's hard to believe, though, but 10 years ago, next month, I stepped on campus for the first time. And so this is my 9th Hall of Fame ceremony during that period. And when I think of the Hall of Fame, the words that come to mind are excellence, high standard, determination, character, and then again, Bison pride. So today's group really exemplifies all of those characteristics and had an incredible impact on the NDSU of today. This class is reflective of NDSU in general: success and greatness at all levels, individual, team, and coaching. And I'm privileged to induct them into the Hall of Fame today. This year's class alone has a long list of accomplishments, and I'll just read those off. 11 All-America honors, 8 academic All-America honors, including an academic All-American of the Year, 3 individual national champions, 4 team national championships, an NCAA batting champion, 2 NCAA postgraduate scholarship recipients, a 2-time National Coach of the Year recipient, the all-time men's basketball scoring leader, and the winningest coach in NDSU football history. This is truly an outstanding group. But not only have today's inductees excelled in their sport, but their different stories represent the levels of excellence throughout Bison Athletics, whether it was individual efforts that garnered national success or being part of a team coming together to reach the pinnacle of their sport. Each of them performed at the highest of levels and now are a permanent part of the fabric of NDSU Bison Athletics history. I'm honored to welcome each of you into the Athletic Hall of Fame as the class of 2024. So thanks again for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of the ceremony, and go Bison.
Well, as we prepare to enshrine the 2024 Bison Athletic Hall of Fame inductees today, let's welcome the past honorees who are here with us today. We'd ask you to please rise and then remain standing while your name is called. And everybody, let's give them a big round of applause after we're done introducing everybody. We have some big stars here today, including Joseph McCormick. Joseph. Nikki Flynn Gregg. Shelley Ryan Rowetter. Steve Saxland, Irv Iniger, Don Morton, Jerry Gores, Chris Nelson, Jamie Barry Adams, Lee Peterson, Jane Even Gust, Perry Kozlowski, Don Larson, Kelly Lehman, Jared Maher, Mark Pasternak, Chad Stark, George Thompson, Andrea Travnicek, and Ryan Walters. Let's give these Hall of Famers a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, North Dakota State qualified 8 wrestlers for the 1998 Division II Wrestling National Championships held in Pueblo, Colorado. All 8 competitors earned All-America honors, including 2 national championships from senior Mark Pasternak at 158 pounds and freshman Steve Saxland at 167 pounds. The Bison scored 112 points to outdistance second-place South Dakota State by 34 points and claimed North Dakota State's second of 4 national titles on the mat. Seniors George Thompson, Jason Cooperis, and Ryan Walters all earned third-place finishes. Sophomore Chris Nelson placed 4th, and sophomores Wayne Mooney and Dave Clymer both placed 7th. Thompson, Pasternak, and Saxland all won North Central Conference championships for the Bison, who scored 83 points to beat Nebraska-Omaha by a 12.5-point margin. It was the 14th NCC championship in program history, but the first in 4 years for the Bison. NDSU went 8-4 in dual meets, including a 6-1 mark in conference. The 1997-1998 Bison wrestling team included 6 wrestlers who've been inducted into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame: Wayne Mooney, Chris Nelson, Mark Pasternak, Steve Saxland, George Thompson, and Ryan Walters. Amazing. And now it's time to enshrine the entire team. The 1998 wrestling team into the Bison Athletic Hall of Champions. Here to represent the team, please welcome the 2015 Hall of Fame inductee himself, George Thompson. George.
I don't know why they put these so high. They asked me to kind of keep my comments brief, to move things along, but I actually did write down a few notes. I don't get an excuse to do a lot of speeches, but you might want to get comfortable. I'm extremely honored to be asked to speak today on behalf of this extraordinary team. Aside from having my own kids, being part of this team was probably one of the proudest things in my life. I generally consider myself to be a pretty humble guy, but today I'm gonna do some bragging. First of all, I'd like to introduce my teammates. As I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing? And if you could hold any applause till the end. At 126 pounds, we had Hall of Famer, 3-time All-American, and national champion Chris Nelson, and he finished 4th in that tournament. Chris, can you please stand? At 142 pounds, we had All-American Jason Cooperis, finished 3rd. At 150 pounds, Hall of Famer, three-time All-American and national champion, Wayne Mooney, who will be speaking later. He finished 7th that year. At 158 pounds, Hall of Famer, three-time All-American, national champion, and co-captain of the 1998 team, Mark Pazdernick. At 167 pounds, Hall of Famer, four-time All-American, three-time national champion, won his first title in that freshman year, Steve Saxland. At 190 pounds, we had three-time All-American, national champion, Hall of Fame member, Ryan Walters, finished 3rd. In addition to these guys standing up, we had a great team behind us, and none of us could have accomplished the things that we did on our own. This team did not just consist of the 8 team members that competed at the national tournament that year. We had others training with us, pushing us every day in the practice room, including the other 2 starters from that season, Ben Peak at 118 pounds and Brian Mueller at 177 pounds. I'd like the rest of the 98 team members that are present to go ahead and stand, if you would. Everybody from that roster, if you would stand, please. Many of these guys had to step up last minute throughout the year and drop 1 or 2 or 10 pounds to fill in for one of us guys that decided to take a night off for some reason. So they were as much a part of this team as the 8 that got to go to nationals. Go ahead and take a seat, guys. We'll have weigh-ins later. Later on, we'll do a weigh-in and a push-up contest. My money's on Wayne Mooney. I guess the secret to staying fit is having a bunch of kids. Next, I'd like to recognize our head assistant coach, Pete Isaias. Being, let's call it modest, Pete, some people may not recall that Pete was even around that year, but his contributions to this team were invaluable. Pete was a great technician with a very strategic mind for wrestling. He had a unique way of helping build your confidence with a very personal and individualized approach. I'm not sure this team would have come together and achieved the success we did without Pete's contribution. Pete, could you please stand? Thank you, Pete. We also had a tremendous group of families, friends, and fans that supported us along the way, and many of those faces are here today, so it's great to see those folks. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the guy and the reason that all of us ended up at NDSU, the legendary Bucky Mon. Bucky had a little different approach to instill confidence in his wrestlers. I think his philosophy was that if he worked us hard enough, he might just maybe make us as close to as tough as he was. Bucky's not a real big guy, though by my standards, I'd like to think he's average height. But he is one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet. Bucky's never been a person to lack confidence. In fact, there were many times I recall how he would tell me he could kick anybody's butt in the room. I don't know that he could, but I don't know that he couldn't either. On behalf of Bucky, I'd like the toughest Mon of all the Mons to stand up and be recognized. No, not you, Jack. Leota, could you please stand for us? Leota has been there to support NDSU wrestling almost from the beginning. Now, getting back to the team that year, we didn't win a team championship on talent, although we had a lot of talent. That's not what got us across the finish line. We won the team championship as a result of the culture that we were able to establish that year. After the tournament, Bucky asked us to come up with sort of a slogan for the season, and what we decided on was all 8 to dominate. The slogan really summed up how this group bought in completely on a team-first philosophy. We pushed each other, we built each other up, and at times we held each other accountable. This resulted in one of the most amazing and complete team efforts I've ever witnessed at the national tournament. I still believe this performance from this team, and again, I said I was going to brag a little bit, but I believe the performance from this team remains the standard for NDSU wrestling. With that, on behalf of my teammates, I'd like to congratulate the other inductees and thank NDSU Wrestling and the athletic department for this honor. Thank you very much.
Pretty good job for a speech that was done in the last 24 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this 3-sport athlete at Hankinson High School transitioned from throwing the discus and javelin her first 2 years at North Dakota State to winning a national championship or 2 in the weight throw and hammer her senior year, 2001. The first 2-time national champion in NDSU women's track and field history, she was a 6-time All-American, including 2 runner-up finishes in the weight throw, a 3rd-place finish in the hammer, and a 5th-place finish in the discus. She was a 2-time North Central Conference champion in the weight throw in 2000 and 2001, breaking the NCC record by 6 feet in 2000, and then breaking her own record again in 2001. She was named the U.S. Track Coaches Association North Central Region Indoor Female Athlete of the Year in 2000 and came back in 2001 to win the weight throw in all 8 indoor meets her senior year. The Bison Sports Arena record holder in the weight throw with a mark of 62 feet, 7 1/4 inches. She held NDSU records for more than 12 years in the weight throw with a mark of 62 feet and 1/4 inch in 2001. And in the hammer throw with a mark of 186 feet, 4 inches in 2001. A graduate of NDSU's Veterinary Technology program, she's been employed the past 13 years at the North Dakota Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory in Fargo, where she resides with her husband John and sons Finn and Declan. It is our pleasure and honor to introduce for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Diandra Bauer Gallagher. Diandra?
I'm gonna do it a little different here. Start out with some horrible dad jokes. Track and field edition. What is harder to catch the faster you run? Your breath. Why did the vegetarian quit track? He didn't like meats. Finally, what was Thor, the god of thunder's favorite event? The hammer throw, of course. Thank you, Hall of Fame committee, especially Jerry Gores, for fighting for me to be included in the Hall of Fame and the good conversations we had over the phone the past couple of years. Rest of the committee, don't be too hard on him. He is very passionate about our track and field teams and athletes as they were so good. And he wants to see many of us standing up here that he believes are deserving of this honor. So thank you, all of you. Thank you also, Coach Gores, for calling me in the fall of 1995. He didn't have to work too hard to get me to NDSU, as I knew this is one of the top schools I wanted to choose for education. I also need to thank him for listening to my throws coach. At the start of my junior year, I wasn't really going very well with the javelin or the discus, and so he tried to talk Jerry into getting me to throw the hammer and the weight, and I'm glad he listened. I also want to acknowledge the other 2 head coaches that were here during that time, Don Larson and Ryan Godfrey. I only did 2 official visits for college. The first was the University of Minnesota. My grandfather went there, and my mother really fought for one of these grandchildren to go there as well. As many of you might know, the U of M is a huge campus. It was extremely daunting to this small town farm girl. I said thanks, but no thanks, sorry Mom. I made the right choice for my education coming here. It has a top-notch veterinary technology program, and I'm very proud to have graduated with that degree. And on that note, I also want to thank specifically those in the vet tech department. You might remember Robinson Hall, those loud, annoying beagles that would bay at you every time you'd walk by if they were outside. That's where I was at a lot of the time during my college education. I want to thank them for being very understanding, for missing classes, labs, for my meet schedule, quite a bit of traveling with track and field, indoor and outdoor, very understanding. Those people were Teresa Sonsthagen, Eloise Hill, and my advisor, Dr. Tom Colville. I think it's very important to honor and thank the past athletes for setting such a high standard, especially the throwers that came before me. Edie Boyer, a fellow Hall of Fame thrower who continued to compete on the international stage post-collegiately for many years with success and set the standard for excellence here at NDSU. Along with Renee Carlson, Kate Lynch, Chris LeClaire, Julie Beck, Jennifer Ledden, and many more recently, my own teammates. Many of them are here today. Vicki Paler, Charlotte Evenson, Julia Karst-Gray, Corey Conlon, Marcy Oxt, Molly Pepple, Katie Staten. And a lot of those people I just named off are also multiple All-Americans. We had a really talented group of people. I'm really lucky to have been your teammates. You guys made me stronger, you made me better. I can't thank you enough. I also want to put out into the universe my delightful interactions with our equipment manager here, the voice, Lyle Wilkinson, who liked to baptize certain athletes with nicknames. Mine was Queenie. As I worked at the Northside Dairy Queen, just down University here, my whole college career, he soon discovered I worked there, and he would also always come visit for a large twist cone. And you guys remember down the hallway, the little slot window he would have as you walk by towards our lockers. He would always pipe up with something, good or bad. He was always pretty generous with his comments, his advice. He didn't like many people going in the back, remember? But he did allow a couple of us back there to wander around, snoop in the lockers, you name it. He allowed me to do that, and he was just a joy to be around, and we miss him a lot. Thank you to my high school coaches. First, Bob Scrivener, who was my head basketball coach. He was very encouraging to me during not only my high school years, but also my college career. Catherine Lem, who is here today. She was the head volleyball and track coach at Hankinson for a couple of decades. A former thrower herself, she introduced me to throwing events. She actually encouraged me to try all the event areas, but the throwing events didn't require much running, so that is what I stuck with. She had to deal not only with me, but my sister Mary. We contributed to her gray hair through the years, and I don't know if she will admit who gave her more between the two of us. My only sibling, Mary, who hates hearing how she is 8 years older than me, sorry. Anyway, she set the athlete bar really high at home growing up. She was an outstanding basketball player, and my main goal was to beat her in points, which I did, so sorry. The next individual to thank is a two-parter. My throws coach, John Gallagher. To say I despised him my freshman year is an understatement. He made fun of my shoes, my shoelaces, my throwing style, my coming from a small Class B school, which he still bothers me about today. It took us a while to get along, and we would have some epic shouting matches at practice. I know you guys recall those, and I so am sorry for that. But he set the bar here at NDSU incredibly high from 1995 to 2001. I remember my final year here, starting practice in the fall. There were so many walk-ons that wanted to join our group. It was just crazy to be part of this great throw crew that we had made even greater with his coaching style. He loves this sport so much and has shown his passion and dedication to us. He made farm kids that barely saw a weight room and athletes with never seen implements like the hammer or the weight, into experienced, strong, capable collegiate athletes that would compete with the big Division I schools at the time. We were little Division II. We put a real dent in the record books, and I'm glad to see that, records are meant to be broken. I think we're almost all gone off the list, so that's okay, but we were pretty good at the time. The other half of this two-partner to thank, my husband, whom I've been married to for 21 years and 1 day now, John Gallagher. What an awesome dad you are. The boys and I rely on him so much. Doesn't seem fair at times, I know. But he took on shouldering the responsibility of staying home and raising our two boys until they started school. And I was working full-time here while also coaching on the side. I can never thank you enough for what you have done and continue to do still to this day. You should be standing up here, and this award is also a part of you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Our two boys, Finn and Declan, your father and I are very excited to see what you do in life, so don't go to jail. And lastly, to thank my parents, Greg and Iris Bauer. I recently heard a quote, actually just yesterday, grief is permanent. And I still experience moments of grief on a weekly basis, but especially moments like this. And if there was such a thing as reincarnation, if you believe in that stuff, this is a way to describe my parents in that way. My mother, name was Iris, obviously she'd be Iris, elegant, classic, coming up annually to say hi. My father, he was a cattle farmer. He would be the studliest bull, servicing the ladies out in the pasture, happily. Thank you again for this honor.
Let's go out to the ballpark. One of only 4 All-Americans in Bison baseball history, he earned third-team honors in 2001 after being selected to the All-Central Region team. He was a 3-time All-North Central Conference outfielder. The NCAA Division II batting champion in 2001 with a school record .517 batting average. He hit 19 doubles, 3 triples, and 5 home runs for a school record .862 slugging percentage in 2001. He owns 2 of the top 4 single-season batting averages in school history and had a school record for doubles twice with 18 in 2000 and 19 in 2001. He hit .441 with 10 home runs and 53 RBIs as a sophomore in 2000 to lead the Bison to a North Central Conference regular season championship with a 16-4 league record and finished 32-14 overall. NDSU's all-time leading hitter. He had a career .435 batting average in 117 games with 44 doubles, 4 triples, 22 home runs, and 134 RBIs. He also finished as the career record holder for slugging percentage, on-base percentage, and doubles, while finishing second in RBIs, total bases and hits, third in runs scored, and 6th in home runs. A Northwoods League batting champion and all-star during his collegiate career, he went on to hit .287 with 37 home runs and 258 RBIs in 5 years of independent minor league baseball, including 2 seasons in the Northern League with the FM Redhawks and Winnipeg Goldeyes. He was Central League Rookie of the Year in 2003 with the Coastal Bend Aviators. He was part of a Minnesota State Amateur Baseball Championship in 2012 with the Victoria Vics, a team that included 6 other Bison baseball alumni. He graduated from North Dakota State with a degree in physical education and currently owns a carpentry business in Young America, Minnesota, where he resides with his wife Teresa and 2 kids, Madison and William. We are proud to welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Matt Mann. Matt.
Thank you very much. I want to thank NDSU for a great weekend. P-Rod, you are the model of consistency on our team, and to put together this weekend is unbelievable. Thank you. My story at NDSU was very, very different than normal. I had never seen the campus. I came here to play baseball and get an education, which my mother pushed me to do. She brought me up, dropped me off, and said, go figure it out. And it was the best thing for me. My mom knew the best, and now she has 4 kids with degrees, and 3 of them are from NDSU, and 1 is advanced. So, thanks, Mom. And thanks, Dad, for supporting and giving everything we needed, and thank you very much. Now that I'm out around and running into so many alumni, they still ask, like, do you play baseball? and yes, I do still play because of my kids. They love the game as much as I do. It's a family thing with us. And it's a cool thing for us to do. Upon arriving to NDSU, I met the next man person and coach who really influenced my life. That was Mitch McLeod. I walked into his office and I said, Mitch, I'm going to play baseball for you. And he could have really just laughed and said, go home. He took a huge chance on me. I walked onto the team. And Mitch was there to support me through all my education to get me a degree, a teaching degree, something that is more important to me than anything. And Mitch was there for me. The second person is Blair Tweet. And after meeting Mitch and with tryouts, I met Blair. And this is kind of, I walked up to the tryout sheet and I looked at it and just desperately searching for my name to be on that sheet. Blair drove up, and this is how I met Blair. He said, what are you looking at? And I turned and I said, I'm looking for my name on the sheet. Did I make the team? He said, don't look at that. And from there he said, you made the team, and now get to work. And that's what I did. To all the baseball players that I played with, they were like family. Like you said, 6 Bison. We still played together after college. We just loved the game. We were kids. We loved the game, and they all became great men. I want to thank my wife for building the foundation that we have with our family. Madison and William are the best gifts that someone could give me. And I also want to thank my kids. Keep working hard. It's been fun to watch you guys grow and compete and learn. Keep going, keep working hard. Thank you. Go Bison.
Our next inductee was a 3-sport standout at Morris Area High School before coming to North Dakota State University. He was the 2008-2009 Summit League Male Scholar Athlete of the Year, an NCAA Postgraduate Scholarship recipient, and a 3-time Academic All-American, including the 2009 Academic All-American of the Year. He was a 3-time All-Conference forward, including Summit League First Team Honors in 2008 and 2009, and Division I All-Independent in 2007. NDSU's all-time leader with 874 rebounds and second leading scorer with 1,962 points. He also finished second in school history with 475 free throws made and was among the top 5 in free throw attempts and field goals made and attempted. He shot 42.5% from three-point range and finished 9th in school history with 119 made three-pointers. Starting all 118 games of his career, he averaged 16.6 points and 7.4 rebounds while shooting 51% from the field and 80% from the free throw line. He scored 613 points his senior year, third most in school history, and led the Bison in rebounding his final 2 seasons and steals his senior year. Playing during NDSU's first 2 years in the Summit League, he was part of NDSU's 2009 team that won the Summit League championship and qualified for the NCAA tournament in its first year of Division I postseason eligibility. He played 3 years of professional basketball in Italy, Poland, and Brazil before working 9 years at Fargo Assembly Company, where he became plant manager and then president. Currently, he is a financial advisor with RBC Wealth Management of Fargo and races long-distance triathlons in his competitive outlet. He completed his first Ironman triathlon, which is 140 miles, in 2022, and was the 2023 USA Triathlon National Champion in the Clydesdale division, which I hope he'll explain when he comes up here. He's going to compete in the 2024 World Championships, by the way, in New Zealand this year. He graduated from North Dakota State's Industrial Engineering and Management program, earned a master's degree in business from NDSU, and currently resides here in Fargo with his wife Terry, sons Asher and Aiden, and 2 dogs, Rue and Kevin. Please welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Brett Winkelman.
The first person I need to thank is whoever wrote that introduction. Made me sound pretty good, thanks. It was me, I wrote it. Seriously, thank you to the selection committee. I am honored and sincerely grateful to be recognized. It does mean a lot, and now my kids will believe me when I tell them how good I was. My best friend's here. She's my wife. Something she quoted to me once has stuck with me. A heart of gratitude ensures a life filled with joy. A heart of gratitude ensures a life filled with joy. Truly words I've tried to live by. No matter the situation, we can always choose to find things to be grateful for and find true joy in life. I mean, it's a little bit easier when you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I do have a lot to be grateful for, specifically the people in my life. My family, my parents, of course. They've sacrificed to give me the opportunity to play at this level and succeed. All the time, energy, money, and love. Allowing me to chase my dream, that was basketball. Thank you. My teammates, where are you guys at? Yeah, a couple of them. We had a special team. To this day, we are very close and have so much respect for each other. I'm proud we're the trailblazers of the Division I era. We came in my freshman year without a conference, a lot of uncertainty, but we knew we were destined for something special and could compete against the best. We quickly proved that. I think I was still a teenager when we beat our first nationally ranked top 25 team, Wisconsin. They were like 12th or 15th. Before a bunch of confident kids came in and showed the nation that NDSU can play basketball. I'm grateful and proud of the fact that we were together throughout our career. It's more and more rare, as you know, for a team to stick together for all 5 years. There are 4 of us who came in day 1 and played out our career here, graduated together. And every incoming class after that who joined us, we stuck together and still do. I am proud and grateful for the friendships I had and still have with my teammates. Thank you, guys. And of course, you, Bison Nation, the relationships I have through NDSU and the support of the community have truly been meaningful and impactful to me in my life. I will always have a heart of gratitude, and of course, I will always be proud to be a Bison. Thank you.
Okay, the Clydesdale division is 220 pounds or more. Does he look like he weighs 220 pounds, though? Anyway, that's pretty cool. So the Clydesdale division, and he competes at the World Championships in New Zealand in December. Incredible. Our next inductee was a three-sport standout from Rochester Mayo High School. She broke her team's records for batting average, stolen bases, and runs scored, and was inducted to her high school's Athletic Hall of Fame. At North Dakota State, she was a three-time academic All-American, earning first team honors in 1998 and 1999, and second team in 1997. She was a four-time National Fast Pitch Coaches Association Academic Scholar Athlete, named to the 1998 NCAA Division II North Central Region All-Tournament Team. She was a four-time All-North Central Region and All-North Central Conference outfielder, and also a three-time academic All-North Central Conference member. She started 270 of 271 games and was part of the program's first NCAA regional appearance in 1998 and first national tournament appearance in 1999, helping the Bison win the 1999 North Central Conference and North Central Region Championship. Her career batting average was .385 with 39 doubles, 8 triples, 190 runs scored, 145 RBIs, and 84 stolen bases. She ranked 10th all-time with a .989 fielding percentage and only 4 errors and 365 fielding chances with 15 outfield assists. She still ranks in NDSU's top 10 in 15 different categories, including 3rd in games played and hits, 4th in stolen bases, 5th in batting average, 6th in runs scored, 8th in RBIs and total bases, and 9th in doubles. A graduate of NDSU's Industrial Engineering and Management program, she has been employed for the past 20 years at the Donaldson Company in Bloomington, Minnesota, where she is currently a senior engineer. We proudly present for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Sarah Schmitz.
Speak softly, carry a big stick. This was a caption in a comic that the Fargo Forum published in 1998 featuring our Bison softball team. It showed a team of players hoisting an oversized bat on their shoulders. This was an accurate description of that team. It was a group that knew how to swing the bat, but went about it in a soft-spoken manner. The entire team had tremendous talent, and you could feel something special happening. That year, we made it to the regional tournament for the first time in program history. The following year, my senior year, we won the conference and regional tournament and advanced to the nationals. The year after my eligibility was up, the team continued to improve and won the national title. A softball team from Fargo wasn't supposed to be that good. During the long winter months, we practiced in the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse. Our hitting stations were set up on a small stage, which was crowded but worked okay. The BBF posed a special challenge for outfielders, though. The ceiling wasn't high enough to practice full-height fly balls. Darren became very skilled at hitting us balls that skimmed right below the roof line. Being a member of the NDSU softball team taught me that anything's possible. It doesn't matter what others think, as long as we believe and put in the work. I learned teamwork, resilience, grit, toughness, determination, and time management. The softball program instilled a strong work ethic that has been beneficial not only in sports, but in my career and in life in general. It is a tremendous honor to receive this award today, and I feel truly blessed to have played softball at NDSU. Special thanks to Darren Mueller for recruiting me, and to Mitch, Darren, and Mike for coaching our team from its humble beginning to becoming an elite program. They built this program from the ground up, and I learned so much from them. And I couldn't be prouder of Darren for his continued success. I would also like to thank my teammates for making those 4 years such a special time. They truly made NDSU a home away from home. And I really appreciate Mary, Nikki, Rhino, and Jerice attending today. They're an extremely accomplished group of Hall of Famers, national title winners, All-Americans, and it means a lot to me that they came to be here. Also, thanks to my parents for their unwavering support. For my dad, who not only hit and pitched endless balls to me, but also built a batting cage in our basement, complete with a pitching machine. And for my mom, who never missed a game and always brought the best treats. Finally, thanks to all the people affiliated with NDSU athletics and with the industrial engineering program. NDSU provides a great environment for college sports, and it meant the world to me to be able to compete at a high level and also receive a quality education. Thanks for the ongoing support of all student athletes, and go Bison.
Our next inductee was a Minnesota State champion wrestler for Greenbush High School. He tied the state record with 204 career victories and was a high school All-American and a junior freestyle All-American before ever coming to North Dakota State. He was a three-time NCAA Division II All-American, placing 7th in 1998 at 150 pounds, 4th in 1999 at 157 pounds, before winning the 2000 National Championship at 157 pounds. The team leader for wins his senior year with a 26-4 overall record. He was 11-1 in duels and had 5 pins. He earned the number 2 seed for the national tournament and finished his career with 11 straight wins following a January overtime loss to Western Colorado's Royce Johnson, a loss he avenged when he beat him 5-2 in the national championship match. That winning streak included the 2000 North Central Conference Championship at 157 pounds. He was a 4-time conference place winner, including a runner-up finish as a junior in 1999. He was 18-7 as a freshman and 28-11 as a sophomore, ranking 3rd on the team in wins both years. He went 24-8 his junior year and finished among the top 10 on the NDSU all-time wins list with a career record of 96-30. A member of the 1998 and 2000 NCAA Division II National Championship teams under Hall of Fame coach Bucky Mann, he was a 3-time Division II All-Academic honoree and the recipient of an NCAA postgraduate scholarship. He graduated from North Dakota State with a degree in recreation management before working 10 years as a recreation coordinator for the West Fargo Park District and director of Parks and Recreation in Brainerd, Minnesota. He returned home to Greenbush in 2010 and is currently employed as the Director of Service and Support at Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces and Altos Precision Mowers. He and his wife Wendy have 5 children, Maria, Anna, Aiden, Claire, and Monica. We proudly welcome into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Wayne Mooney.
I'd like to thank God for the opportunity to attend NDSU and to be involved with athletics. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee. It's a great honor to be part of the 2024 class of inductees. I'm thankful to be here with the love of my life, my wife, Wendy, and I'm happy that our 5 children are here, Maria, Anna, Aiden, Claire, and Monica. Thankful for years of support from my parents, Ron and Colette, for my siblings, especially my younger brother Gabe. He also wrestled here at NDSU. Thank you, uncles and aunts. Some of them are here today. During my time at NDSU, I was blessed with good people around me that influenced me and formed me as a wrestler and as a person. Thank you to Coach Bucky Mann and assistant Pete Isaias, who built the successful NDSU wrestling program that I got to be a part of. Bucky, for all of you who don't know him, he was an old school coach. He He was good at recruiting the right guys and then putting pressure on them to win. And they found a way to win. NDSU fans, thank you so much for all that you've done. You're the best fans out there. Thank you to the guys that I wrestled with in the room. You found where I needed improvement, kind of showed that to me, and helped to make me better. A couple of the guys I wrestled with most, Mark Pazdernick, Jason Cooperis, Grady Wolf, thank you. NDSU athletics deeply influenced my life. These are some experiences that taught me to take some risks, but stay focused on goals. In 1998, as a sophomore, I placed 7th at Nationals. I had some hard-fought matches, and I felt I had a pretty solid finish that year, but the real excitement was about the 1998 National Championship team. It was really exciting to be on that team with those guys. As a junior, I placed 4th at Nationals, which was good, but I knew it wasn't my best performance. I knew I could do better. Mainly, I knew that because the 3 guys that placed ahead of me that year in Nationals, I beat earlier in the season. So going into my senior year, I knew I needed to do something. I had to change something to improve my end-of-season performance. And I remembered back to that 1998 team in that season when it seemed like everything went right. And I remembered one of my practice partners, Jason Cooperis. He seemed to have some back pain near the end of the season and lightened up on his workouts. Following that, he had his best conference and national tournament. Now, I don't really know if he actually had back pain or not, but it certainly worked out for him. So at the end of my senior year, I decided to reduce the intensity of my workouts a little more than normal. And at the end of the season, I felt great. I felt like I was taking a risk in doing it, but it worked out. I achieved goals of winning the conference and national tournament in 2000 and being part of the 2000 national championship team. It was a lot of fun. And fun and wrestling can kind of go together. Having fun wrestling reminds me of a story about Bucky. I remember once one of his locker room motivational speeches before a dual meet where he said, "I just want you guys to go out there and have fun." And I thought, that really doesn't sound like something Bucky would say. But then he followed it up by saying, "Now I've never known any wrestlers that had fun losing, so go out and have fun." His pep talk worked. That night we won 35-0. And after the meet, Bucky said, "Now that was fun." These are a couple other memories I had about NDSU. So when I came to NDSU, Bucky had me set up to room with another wrestler at Stockbridge Hall, Eric Dodds. Sometimes we had the door open to talk with people as they came by. We knew the guy across the hall well. His name was Mike. And one day I saw a girl stop by his room. As soon as she left, I talked with Mike and learned the girl was a graduate student in the math department and his sister. Fast forward to today, that girl is my beautiful wife of 24 years. Wendy, I love you more every day. Eric was a good roommate and friend to me. One example I remember and will be forever grateful for was when Wendy and I were married on May 20 of 2000. It was a week after we both graduated from NDSU. I remember at our wedding dance, Eric passed a hat and raised $604. It was enough money to fund our honeymoon and still have $12 left over. Thank you, Eric. After 2 years in Stockbridge, Eric and I moved off campus and added 2 more roommates. One was an NDSU wrestler, Chris Moen, and the other my brother-in-law, Mike Booth. Believe it or not, I spent plenty of time in the apartment with these guys, sort of as a mental toughness training wrestling. Once I ended up with my t-shirt stapled to my back at the hand of Chris Moen. For all the great times that I had here at NDSU, and for this great honor today, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next inductee was a 4-year starter for Albert Lee High School in Minnesota. He was the school's all-time leader in points, assists, and steals before a record-setting career at North Dakota State. He was inducted into the Albert Lee High School Hall of Fame as well. In 2009, the Summit League Player of the Year and Tournament MVP, he was an Associated Press All-American Honorable Mention and CollegeInsider.com Mid-Major All-American. An all-conference first-team guard all 4 seasons at North Dakota State. He was the Division I Independent Newcomer of the Year as a freshman in 2006. He scored a game-high 24 points in NDSU's road victory over then 13th-ranked Wisconsin. He started all 118 games of his career and is NDSU's career scoring leader with 2,315 points. He set Summit League and NDSU records with 60 points, 30 free throws made, and 35 free throws attempted against Stephen F. Austin in his senior year, also tying the NCAA record for free throws made. He made the winning basket with 4 seconds left in the 2009 Summit League Championship game, sending North Dakota State to the NCAA tournament in its first year of Division I postseason eligibility. His 37 points against Kansas in the first round was an NCAA tournament high that year. He finished the season with a Summit League record 766 points and was selected to the Hershey's College All-Star Game at the men's Final Four. NDSU joined the Summit League for his final 2 seasons, where he averaged 22 points per game over his 2 years in the league, the second best in league history upon his graduation. He earned a degree in management from North Dakota State and played 8 years of professional basketball in France, Slovenia, Georgia, Turkey, Italy, Spain, and New Zealand. Now a self-employed business owner, he resides in West Fargo with his wife, Amanda, daughter, Genevieve, and son, Declan. Please welcome to the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Ben Woodside.
Wow, what a crew, what a lot of people here tonight, this afternoon. So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm gonna let everybody know right off the bat that, and I'm gonna apologize in advance, that this is not gonna be a 5-minute speech. Ryan Peralt, through all my years at NDSU, I followed your directions with interviewing, radio time, meeting with reporters, and you name it. But this one time, I'm not gonna follow your directions of a 5-minute speech. So just bear with me here, because there's some important people in this crowd that deserve recognition that I need to thank. First off, thanks to the committee for the induction to NDSU Hall of Fame. I appreciate the recognition. It definitely means a lot. There's going to be quite a few people that I thank today, and I just ask that when I say your name that you stand up, briefly give a wave, because these people need to be recognized. Without them, my career doesn't turn out the way it did. To my parents, Paul and Robbie, and my sister, Bryn, thanks for the support over all the years, both on and off the court. I've never met a set of parents who are more dedicated to their kids' future, supporting their kids in whatever activities they want to be a part of, than my parents. My folks literally traveled thousands of miles across the country, spending thousands of dollars they didn't have, and early mornings dropping me off at the gym and late nights picking me up. They also allowed me to spend unlimited hours at the infamous Valley Park in Albert Lee, Minnesota. And I vividly remember one afternoon coming back from the park, summer of my 8th grade year, after about 3 hours of hooping down there. But my parents tell me, and they said, "Ben, you got to get a job this summer." And I looked directly back at them and I said, "This is my job." And They never asked me again to get a job, but thank you for all that you did so I could chase the dreams of becoming a pro basketball player. They also did that for my sister, Bryn, throughout her high school and college career. Mom and Dad appreciate the support and the sacrifice. One of the biggest lessons I've learned from my parents is how you sacrifice and had unwavering support for your children. That support still continues to this day, and with their grandchildren as well. Genevieve, Declan, and Isla. I hope that I can follow the support trait that you both had for Bryn and myself, and I can pass that on to my kiddos. I wouldn't be in the position I am today without your sacrifice and support, and that's an ultimate parent gesture, so thank you. There's a lot of coaches I had throughout NDSU career, so I want to thank them all, but there's 3 specifically that I want to thank. Tim Miles, where you at? Stand up. I asked to stand up. I got the podium today. Coach Miles gave me an opportunity to achieve one of my goals of playing Division I basketball. Miles and I had a great relationship throughout my career, and he knew exactly how to get me going. Even though there's hundreds of stories I could say about Timmy Boy, I call him Timmy Boy now. I never used to call him Timmy Boy back in the day. But there's one story that was a game changer for me going to NDSU. Prior to committing to NDSU, back when I was getting recruited, they had what's called an in-home visit. And I'm not sure if they still do that, but basically coaches come in, they go to your home, meet your family, have dinner, and obviously try to sell you. And many people in this room know that Miles can sell ice to an Eskimo. So the visit went really well, and had a great time that night. But what was interesting was the next day I had Coach Nagy at South Dakota State that was in for a home visit. And Nagy and his assistant are sitting in the living room with my parents, myself, and I think my sister was 7 years old at that time. And all of a sudden the phone rings. And we're all like, who's calling at 7 o'clock at night? I was like, Bryn, go grab the phone, will you? Gets up there, gets the phone, comes running back to the living room. I'm like, well, who is it? It's Coach Miles that's on the phone. And so I answered the phone, and Miles basically said, hey, appreciate the time last night. Just want to let you know that we are a school that's committed to your player development, and that you're our guy. Now, when a coach has the balls to call someone's home and there's another head coach in the room, that's the guy I want to play for. So, Miles, appreciate you giving this kid a chance to play D1. Salty, stand up. Saul Phillips. A lot of times I get asked, which coach, they ask me, which coach would you want to play for? And I always got my response is I always got to flip a coin. Because both coaches were perfect for our team on these specific moments in years that we were at NDSU. Saul was actually our redshirt coach, redshirt freshman coach when all of us redshirted, and so he coached us quite a bit prior to him coaching us for 3 years as a head coach. He got to know us well, he understood us, how we played, and when Saul became the head coach, it was a huge game changer for my career. He allowed me, he implemented an offense that was primarily pick and roll, in which allowed me to play with the ball in my hands quite a bit. He also allowed me to shoot a floater, which Coach Miles didn't allow me to do that. So it was a vital component for the development of my game. I got a lot of stories about Saul as well, just like Miles. But you got a tissue? My nose keeps running. Here, hand me a tissue. I told you it was going to be longer than 5 minutes. But I got a lot of stories like Saul, but most importantly, when I reflect on Saul as a coach, it keeps coming back to my mind how he continued to put his trust. There we go. Thanks. Continued to put his trust in his point guard. A lot of people don't know, but I missed a lot of game winners at NDSU. And Coach Phillips kept telling me, you're going to have the ball at the end of the game. I'm going to keep putting the ball in your hands at the end of the game. And little did we know that the one college game winner that I hit ended up taking us to the NCAA tournament and the first ever in NDSU history. Coach Phillips was a phenomenal X's and O's coach, and he utilized the tremendous players we had on our team to perfection. Saul, thanks for trusting in your point guard. That shot to go to the NCAA tournament, it forever changed my life, and it gave me opportunities I never thought I'd have. So thanks for continuing. to trust in your point guard. Jason Kemp, I don't think he's here tonight, but Kemp went above and beyond helping me become the player I was, and it needs to be recognized. Kemp would work me out anytime I asked. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that's compliant. I'm not sure if that was compliant, but we got away with it. But it didn't matter the time of day. He literally never said no. He was helping me work out mornings, evenings on my skill development. So Kemp, I know you're not here, but I appreciate you sacrificing your time and working me out anytime I asked. He vastly helped me improve my game, and I'm forever grateful for that. I'm halfway, all right? Bear with me. To my teammates, obviously, we had tremendous teammates throughout my career. There's four guys I want to recognize here. One of them's already been up here. Winks, you don't need to stand because you've already been up here standing, but congrats, Winks, on a Hall of Fame induction, brother. Obviously, it's well-deserved. Winks and I had many years together, on and off the court. We grew up playing AAU together, committed in the same school. We were roommates our freshman year, and it always fascinated me how good of a rebounder Brett Winkelman was. It wasn't his size. He wasn't the biggest guy. It wasn't his athleticism, although you are athletic, Winks. But there's not another player on this planet as analytical as Winks. When an opponent would shoot the ball, Winks was so smart that as the ball was in the air, what I believe is that he was calculating the trajectory, the ball spin, the impact point on the rim, and what percentage where the ball is going to land after it hit the rim. He did all this in his head in milliseconds, where while most of us, we need a semester of school to analytically figure that out. Winks did it on the fly every possession. But jokes aside, congrats, Winks. Had a blast playing with you at NDSU. Love you, brother. Luke Mormon, big man. Luke Mormon, stand up. My big man, our big man, funny guy on the team. Mormons did all the dirty work. Many of us teammates know his piercing elbows, those extremely hard knees, as we've all been hit by him many times. He also likes to joke that he set the most screens in NDSU history. Which, if that was a category, I'm not sure if it is, but if that was a category, nobody would touch it because it's true. Thanks, big man, for always having your teammates back on the help side. The never-ending amount of screens that you set for us, and all the dirty work you did. He didn't necessarily impact the game statistically, but he made a huge impact on our team every game he stepped on the floor, battling with the bigs on the inside, and setting a million screens for us. So, love you, brother. Thanks for all those screens. I owe you. Michael Tweeter. Stand up. There he is. Tweeter was the ultimate teammate, a huge shot maker, and you never believe this, but the guy doesn't like sports. He couldn't name a pro team, a college team, or a player, which doesn't make sense when you're a Division I athlete, but it's true. Thanks for knocking down probably the second biggest shot in NDSU history versus Oakland. That shot changed the momentum of the game and gave us a chance at the end. I only wish you would have made a shot or two like that versus the Kansas game in the NCAA tournament, but we won't go there. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously. Thanks for being a fabulous teammate. As an underclassman and embracing your role on the team, you helped us tremendously. Love you, brother. Mike Nelson. Dimer. My roommate for 3 years, best shooter I've ever played with. I could go on and on about Mike Nelson, but there's one thing I want to say about Mike is, in the Hall of Fame committee, if you're listening, I ask that you highly consider and take a look at Mike Nelson's for next year's Hall of Fame induction, and here's why. 11th all-time scoring at NDSU. He was 7th when he graduated, all-time scoring. He's 11th in all-time field goals made. He's 9th all-time in three-point field goal made. He's 4th all-time in three-point field goals percentage. He had all those incredible stats while playing with the number 1 and number 2 leading scorer in NDSU history. But also, he defended the best player on the perimeter every single night. If it wasn't for Mike Nelson, we would not have been the team we were. We would have not won the amount of games we did. And quite frankly, we wouldn't have been in a position to be in the NCAA tournament with Mike Nelson, without Mike Nelson. Am I biased? Yeah, I'm biased. But if you watched any of our games, it's an easy decision on whether he should be in the NDSU Hall of Fame. I ask for your consideration next year because it's beyond deserved for Mike Nelson. Everyone, can you give all those 4 guys a round of applause and the rest of my teammates? Our team wouldn't have been possible with our whole team, and obviously, especially with those 4 studs. Brad Nordstrom, where you at? I got a couple more, so bear with me. Brad Nordstrom's in the back. He was our initial strength and conditioning coach when we came in at probably 120 pounds, and he got us going to get ready for college. But he was also my strength and conditioning coach for 8 years playing professionally. I spent many hours with Brad, and he kept me in tip-top shape and ready for the next season. Thank you, Brad, for training me throughout the years. You helped me stay ready, and every year you helped with the longevity of my career. Thank you for the dedicated time. It'll never go unnoticed. I got 2 more. Ray and Kathy Qualvog, stand up. And their sons, Zach and Connor. As you notice, the 2 sons didn't stand up. Zach and Connor died in a car accident 9 years ago, going to a high school basketball tournament. Zach and Connor are what you would refer to as super fans of our 2009 basketball team. Myself and many people in this room got to live out our dreams of playing college basketball and beyond, but Zach and Connor didn't. Mike Nelson and I got to help develop Zach and Connor, and we had the privilege to work with those 2 boys over the years. Ray and Kathy, you 2 have been through hell and back, but you've always been loyal to me, supportive of me, my basketball career, and my business career. So thank you for that. And I want to throw out this idea, and I apologize, I'm getting choked up here. If there's someone in the audience that can help give me information on the possibility of creating and starting the Zach and Connor Qualvog Scholarship Fund at NDSU that directly supports not only Zach and Connor's favorite team of NDSU, but their favorite sport in basketball. I think it'd be a really cool honor, a way to honor 2 boys who would have done anything to play basketball at NDSU. Lastly, most importantly, and I'm done, because you guys are sick of hearing me sniffle all the time. My wife, Amanda, many of you know her as AJ. My kiddos, Genevieve and Declan, please stand up, honey. AJ sacrificed and put her career, her ambitions, and her goals all on hold to follow my ass all over Europe for 8 years. She was the most thoughtful and selfless person I've ever met, traveling constantly and living out of a suitcase for 8 years, going to places and countries that we didn't know existed. She stayed in foreign countries alone, not knowing anybody, while I'm out on the road traveling, playing, and she supported me during the toughest times overseas. It isn't as easy and joyful as everyone thinks. It takes a strong, confident, independent woman to be able to do that. And that's exactly what you're all about, babe. So thank you, babe, for supporting me throughout my basketball career, but also supporting me throughout my business journey. I always joke with her that there's literally not one other person on this planet that would be able to marry me for many obviously reasons, except her, and that says a lot about the woman she is. I'm thankful NDSU allowed us to cross paths as I continually stalked you on the dance line team your freshman year in those tight shorts. Love you, honey. Thank you, everyone, for giving me this time. I really thought I needed to recognize some individuals out here. I appreciate the time. Those people are very important to me and in my basketball journey. Go Bison.
Our final inductee today is a graduate of Lincoln High School and the University of Nebraska. He started a 43-year coaching career as a graduate assistant for the Huskers before taking his first full-time position in 1984 as NDSU's defensive back coach. He returned to North Dakota State as head coach in 2003 after working as linebackers coach and defensive coordinator at Tulsa, Wisconsin, Rice, Duke, and Nebraska. He led the Bison through their final year of Division II play with a monumental road win over FCS Power Montana in his second game with the Herd. The architect of NDSU's modern-day dynasty, he quickly transitioned the Bison to Division I prominence with a Great West Football Conference championship in 2006, back-to-back 10-1 seasons, and 7 victories over FBS opponents: Ball State, Central Michigan, Minnesota twice, Kansas, Colorado State, and Kansas State. His team reached the NCAA FCS playoffs 4 times from 2010 to 2013, winning 3 straight Missouri Valley Football Conference championships and FCS national titles from 2011 to 2013. He led the Bison to a 15-0 record in 2013, leaving as NDSU's all-time wins leader with a 104-32 record over 11 seasons. A 5-time finalist and 2-time Eddie Robinson Award winner as FCS Coach of the Year, he was a 2-time AFCA Regional Coach of the Year and National Coach of the Year, and 4-time Conference Coach of the Year. He spent the last 10 seasons as head coach at Wyoming, leading the Cowboys to 6 bowl games. He served as president of the American Football Coaches Association in 2022 and has also served on the AFCA Board of Trustees, NCAA Division I Football Competition Committee, and Division I Football Oversight Committee. He was named Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association this year. Please welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Coach Craig Bohl.
Wow, wow, wow. Thanks, Dan. You know, a little bit about Dan Michaels. Many of you may know or may not know. Dan was a radio personality when I first was hired here, and his partner was Ryan Kelly. And through the years, you also may know I came up here as a single man, and it was about 7 years later, I walked through the Fargo Dome concourse there, and Ryan Kelly came up, and she was single at the time also. So as a strategic coach, I began to strategize, and felt like at that time we needed to drum up interest in coming to the Dome, and so I asked if I could be on the radio show. And so I was on the radio show with Dan and Ryan, and after that, I invited both of them up to my office for a lunch, which was pleasant. And Dan Michaels was firmly convinced that my motivation for having them up for lunch was to somehow involve him in Bison football. Dan, I'm sorry, but your services were not really wanted. I was more interested in Ryan, who now is my wife, Leah Bohl. Please stand up, Leah. Thank you so much, honey. Yeah. Well, the invitation for the NDSU Hall of Fame is, the highlight of my coaching career. I want to say thank you to President Cook, Director Larson, and a heartfelt, impactful moment when Coach Polasek called up and informed me on the invitation to this Hall of Fame, which I humbly accept. It's also fitting to acknowledge President Joe Chapman, President Dean Brashani, who's with us today, for their leadership and support of Bison Athletics. Don Morton is also here, who took a chance on a 25-year-old GA out of the University of Nebraska and had an opportunity to learn under Coach Morton. Thank you, Coach Morton. Gene Taylor. Gene Taylor has my everlasting thanks. Gene entrusted me to lead Bison football through our transition of Division II into FCS. And a lot of people questioned whether we were going to be successful. And a small story about that, and this is not scripted, with this new position, I've had a chance to travel all around the country. And so I went to the Southeastern Conference, and their commissioner's name is Greg Sankey. And so as I was going in to meet with Commissioner Sankey, who happens to be a pretty powerful man, he'd mentioned to me offline, he said, "Yeah, I love Josh Allen and everything else, but he did some great work at NDSU." I was curious about that, and so I reached out to Gene Taylor. I texted him. I said, "I'm going to go in and see Sankey down in Birmingham. What went on?" And he said, "Well," and he started laughing. He said, Commissioner Sankey was a commissioner of the Southland Conference. I don't know how many were in the room at the time, but he came up and gave some messages on what to do and how to make this transition into Division I. And at the very last night, Gene Taylor and Commissioner Sankey were up in the Red Hawks suite. The only two that were there, the only two in the room. And so as I sat in the office down in Birmingham, he said, "You know what, and he told me this, and Gene had told me it also. He said, "Craig, I told Gene, I think it'd be a tragic mistake to go from Division II to Division I. You'll never make it, and you'll never make it in football." So Commissioner Sankey was wrong, and Gene Taylor and the other stakeholders in this room were right. Go Bison. It's also, it's an honor for me to be up on the same platform with these other inductees. And as I look out in the Bison family, what a warm and welcoming group this is. And also my family, who was embraced by the Bison and by NDSU, and they're here today. First of all, my sister Lisa's here, and Lisa helped craft my first presentation to Gene Taylor and Pat Simmers on how I should become the next head coach. So thank you very much, Lisa. My daughter Morgan, her husband Stephen is here with their son Joe. Maddie and Jacob are not able to be here. My other daughter Mallory's here. Her husband Brett and Noelle, or I call her Ellie. So a story about Morgan and Mallory. They were younger, and our camp had grown, our summer camp. We had about 1,500 guys out on this field. And Morgan and Mallory were challenged, and their duty were the hydration specialist. They were charged with making sure all these student athletes, all these high school players, had the right amount of Gatorade. Very successful camp. Activity going on everywhere. I was driving my golf cart around, and I looked over at Morgan and Mallory, and they're in tears. So I drive up, "Honey, it's camp's going great. What's going wrong?" They were both, lips was quivering, tears running down their cheeks. "Daddy, these football players are yelling at us." "Well, why are they yelling at you?" "They hate the Gatorade." "Well, why do they hate the Gatorade?" "They say it tastes terrible." I said, "Why does it taste terrible?" And they didn't want to tell me, but then they finally broke down. Our camp director was Coach Polasek. Coach Polasek had instructed them to only ration 1/3 of the Gatorade powder, so the players hated it. So needless to say, Matt, you have a head coach who can watch his pennies. And my son Aaron, who's not here, and it's probably good that he's not here. He's the defensive coordinator at Wyoming. That's not why he's good that he's not here, but unbeknown to a lot of people, and President Cook and Matt, you may have to give us a pardon or a statute of limitations. My son was underage and drove the Gator into the fence. And he had another young man with him, who I believe at the time was Joe Burrow, who now is the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. So the NDSU police, they wrote up a report, but they never filed it. So President Cook, please give us a pardon, and I'll write you a check for the Gator and the fence. And my mother, Roberta, who constantly was asking me over and over again, "What are you going to do when Steve Walker leaves? What are you going to do when Walker leaves?" Well, Mom, we figured that one out. And then my father, Philip, who's a straight shooter, he said, "I'll tell you one thing, that football team, as you know, we started out hot, and then we had some rough years in there, and then we got really good at the end." He said, "That football team got a hell of a lot better when you settled down and you married your wife, Leah." So my dad's always a straight shooter. And then another dear friend, Lance Wolf. I don't know if you guys know Wolfie. Lance Wolf, who constantly was in my ear. I don't know if you remember our first Gopher football game. We missed a field goal at the end. If I had a quarter for every time Wolfie asked me, "Make sure you have a kicker." Well, Wolf, we always had kickers after that. And then another dear friend, Jim Whelan. Jim Whelan, who met me on a cold, rainy day after one of our tough losses as we were going through this transition, and I had doubts whether I had the fortitude, the skill level, and the competency to lead NDSU through this transition. So thank you so much, Jim, for your words of encouragement. And then also I want to say thanks to all the great players that we've had here, whether it be the players we had in 1984 when I was an assistant coach, or those players from 2003 through 2013. And I want to say thanks to all the great assistant coaches whose guys have gone out and done tremendous things that too many fellows to even mention. And then recognize there's greatness here at NDSU, not only in football, but all our sports. Some of the other head coaches that have accomplished the national championships here I'd like to note: Darryl Mudra, Ron Earhart, Don Morton, who's here today, Earl Salmonson, Rocky Hager, Chris Kleiman, Matt Entz. And we have a new sheriff in town, Tim Polasek, right there, Tim. All right? What we need to recognize is NDSU's been branded. There was a time people didn't know who we were and what we were about. I can remember when I got hired and Joe Chapman called me over to his office, and he pulled out a list and he said, "You recognize these names on this list?" Well, there was Kansas State, Colorado State, Clemson. I sure do, President. He goes, "Coach, those are our peer institutions. We're known regionally. We need to change our platform. We're going to do this through athletics, and we need to get good in football." And I said, "You doggone right, we'll do that, President." And a couple of years later, after we beat the University of Minnesota, he called me over again. I was a little bit concerned we were in trouble. Somebody got in trouble downtown or whatever. And he got behind the table and he shook my hand. He goes, "Craig, after that win, our admissions went up 28% in 1 week." And then we followed it up with a great president, Dean Brashani, who always was there to listen and always helped through troubling times and challenging times. And Dean, you and I both know one of the most challenging times that we had, and you stood tall. And I want to thank you for that. As I said, there's greatness with NDSU. As I travel around the country, we are now branded. We're now branded on NDSU. We're now branded all over the country. When you say NDSU, whether you're in LA or when I went to the NCAA headquarters and met President Charlie Baker, he had me in. I was supposed to meet with him a half hour. It was an hour. And he asked me everything about NDSU. So there's greatness here. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're going to tee it up and get after Townsend. Go Bison!
I can't believe he was there just to meet Leah. Apparently I'm chopped liver, I guess. It was all a ruse. What a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your attendance here today. If you'd please direct your attention to the video screen and join the NDSU Concert Choir in singing the alma mater, the yellow and the green. Everybody up.
Oh, cheer for green and fields of grain.
We are the pride of North Dakota. And now it's our pleasure to unveil the names of the 2024 Bison Athletic Hall of Fame class in our permanent display here at the Sanford Athletic Health Complex. And there you can see those names. Congratulations to all our inductees. And as we conclude today's ceremony, we ask that all 2024 Bison Athletic Hall of Fame inductees please meet up here on stage immediately following the ceremony and bring your award with you for a group photo. And a reminder to everyone, the Bison Bash starts at 4 o'clock today at Churchill Field. Homecoming Parade is on University Drive at 6 p.m. And the Bison soccer team plays at Dakota Field tonight at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, the Thundering Herd takes the field at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock start for the homecoming game against Towson at the Fargo Dome. Thank you for attending today. Once again, congratulations to our newest members of the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, and go Bison!